they started it. You know, the most recent incarnation of the market, certainly the use of private sector providers for clinical care, was an invention of the Labour government. No previous government had done it to any extent. The Tories privatised ancillary services with disastrous results in the hospitals, cleaning, catering and so on, with all the horrible results that you've seen since. And obviously, the major beneficiary of that was MRSA and so on. So we've seen that already. But it was Tony Blair's government decided to bring in private providers to do elective operations, private providers to deliver GP services. That didn't happen before. In fact, they created a private sector that wasn't there before and has no organic market without the government pushing money in their direction. So it's relatively easy to get that private sector to go away. Just stop giving them money and tell them they're not wanted anymore. Some of these people that are key to the market. McKinsey and PricewaterhouseCoopers and these other people are advising leading Labour figures on policy. John Healey, the guy, and so on, the guy behind TTIP, is advised by PwC, who actually sit on one of the bodies, don't they? They actually help draw the policies up. So, Labour has bought into that, just as they bought into the austerity agenda and so on. Now, you can say that they have moved a bit on this, just recently. The 10-year strategy is by no means the straightforward statement that you might have expected of the position that they had in the 2000s. It is a significant shift. There are some interesting concepts there. And I'm not one of those people who think you should fly away and panic every time anybody mentions integration. Because actually we do need to integrate, we need to reintegrate the services being torn apart by the market and held apart by this division between health and social care. We need to do that. We need to do it on terms of the NHS. We need to make it all free at point of use, fund it from taxation and publicly provide it. That's what we need to do, an integrated service. So I'm in favour of that type of integration, and there are indications that some of Labour's thinking is headed in that direction. It's interesting, Andy Burnham reacted against the Manchester Viva Mac proposals and said we're not in favour and we wouldn't be offering it as a Labour government. Now, I think that's really important because it does mean there's a division there. One of the local Labour MPs denounced it from the beginning, pointing out there's actually no democratic mandate for it whatsoever. Nobody in Manchester had been asked what they wanted. CCGs all signed up for it without asking a single one of their GPs, let alone any of their patients. Councils signed up for it without asking a single councillor, let alone the people that voted them into office. This has no democratic mandate, and I would certainly hope that Labour would say, no, we're not going to do this. This is not the way to do it. This is breaking services up. Which comes on to that final question about fragmentation in all its forms. Fracking, you fragment the earth. Market fragments the NHS. We're against all of that. We actually think the earth should stay in one piece, actually. And we'd rather like it that way. And we think the market has no place in healthcare. So, just a quick plug for the North West London campaign. It is it's the biggest closure programme anywhere in the country. 4 hospitals, 4 A&Es, 2 whole hospitals, and all of the related proposals. It's interesting, in the last 9 months of 2014, they spent £13.5 million on consultancy, management consultants, drawing these plans up. They still haven't got a finished business case. They've been running 2.5 years, there is still no business case outlining what they really want to do. And they're expecting people to sit back and watch hospital close while they've got no business case and no argument and no evidence for the proposal. So it is a test case, because if they get away with it there, they're going to push it, and they are. If you look at any of the documents up and down the country proposing reorganisation and reconfiguration, they're the same tired old limp bargains on the arguments wheeled out again by McKinsey's these management consultants from the same reference book of cliches and unproven assertions, and they're rolling out these plans everywhere. So we have to stop it in West London, and we have to stop it everywhere else. And I just wanted to say one quick word on the unions and Labour. The problem with the unions is that in most cases the affiliated fund is autonomous from the union itself. So you have a main union conference in unison, that actually can adopt various policies. And I speak, by the way, proudly as a prescribed member, a prescribed person by Unison in London. Apparently my views are too dangerous for Unison in London. I do lots of work with Unison everywhere else in the country, but not in London. Anyway, Unison has an affiliated political fund which has its own procedures, its own conference, and jealously prevents any national conference decisions that are going to cut across and it'll tell them what to do. So while Unison was opposing PFI, Labour people, the AF affiliated political fund on the Labour committees was voting for it. While Unison opposed various other proposals, they were voting for it. And it's gone all along the same way. That unions have to demand democratic control over the people who operate in their political fund and political affiliations. It has to be. Why should they be a law unto themselves? It's outrageous. And they have to demand a value for money audit of the money they give to these political parties. What are we getting back? What are we getting back? We give them millions, what do we get back? You know, and I think that really is important. Let's start saying, you know, we want people to actually deliver for the money that we're paying and we're investing by arguing the policy for unions. That just makes them look stupid. So let's get real on that one.
Let's get real. Get real.